Ladies and gentlemen, people and persons, this is your 30-minute end of pop culture as you know it. I am your co-host, Gnarly Quinn, joined by the main man, Matthias, and we would like to welcome you to Apocalypse. So, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, because this time I got something for you, Matthias. I had an
Oh
interesting
no.
thought, and it's super basic, because this is one of the questions that have been asked for decades, like since Thanos and Darkseid became a thing. What do you think would
Okay.
happen if Thanos and Darkseid somehow, some way crossed universes and met on their quest to conquer worlds?
So I'm going to open up with this. All right. First off, a very good question. Second off, Thanos has the unintentionally having a crutch. Is people assume that he's not powerful without the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's not true. He is still a freaking, I don't even know the word I want to say. He's just a son of a. he's just oh, I don't know where to start with it. He is a threat even without the Infinity Stones. Like, I know the movies and a lot of his comics center around that, and he's not as much of a threat, with them, but he's still, like you see in the movie, he's still messed up, the big three, Thor, Captain, and Iron Man. He still messed them up, and all he had was that sword. But
Oh yeah,
like,
my thing is the only reason that Darkseid actually, not Darkseid, but the only reason Thanos actually did go after the Infinity Gauntlet was to make him more powerful. Only because
yeah,
I'm not sure if they retcon this at all, but he made a deal with Death where if he could kill the most
yeah.
people, he would get Death in the end.
Yeah, that's one
So
storyline I feel the movies haven't touched on, was the whole him being obsessed with death.
yeah, I think his obsession with that, one, it gives him a goal. It gives
Yeah,
him like one solid goal rather than just like, oh, I'm going to conquer the universe. It's like, no, I have to conquer the universe in order to get my, I don't know if you could call it a love interest, or it's a goal still. Either way, it is a
yeah.
goal that he set himself to achieve.
There's a comic I read, and I'll send you the link. It's I think back in COVID, I had a Marvel app that you could read comics, and they actually did like a free. It was like a free month that you could just pick any comic and read it for free because of COVID. Um,
Huh.
and but there's only certain ones that they had available. And the
Yeah.
one I read was, I think it was just called Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you what, that guy, like, bled main character vibes the whole dang, like. Oh yeah, it's a very good comic. I really recommend anyone listening to read that. It's very good. It's my point is yes, he is a very big threat with the Infinity Stones, but without him, he's still just he's a son of a. He is a relentless, tyrannical, tenacious guy. Like he says in the movies, he is a survivor.
Yeah.
He hates to lose because he's been there. He's
Mm-hmm.
seen what it's like to lose, and he doesn't want that happen again. But anyway, I'm straying too far. But yeah, the what would they do when they meet? I don't think they'd be buddies. That's just prevalent. They wouldn't be
Ah.
buddies.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. Like, it's one of those, like, the two big dogs on the yard, you know what I mean, are gonna puff out their chest and pretty much prove themselves who's the strongest. Like, it's not gonna, well, I tell you what, it's not gonna be one-sided. I don't believe it's gonna be a one-sided fight.
No.
I know Darkseid is a very prideful, I don't know, he's very prideful. He is. Like the one movie I seen years ago was that Superman, Batman, Doom, Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Was pretty much one of the best fights I've seen, like Superman and Darkseid fight. And a lot of the times he just stands up straight with his arms behind his back, and his Omega Beam does all the work.
Oh,
I feel
well,
like
it's a heavy
he's been
hitter.
alive so, yeah, I feel like he's been doing this so long that he just doesn't feel like he should get his hands dirty, I guess. I don't know. I don't know him as well as I do Thanos. I'll admit that. But
And that's why I thought it'd be interesting, because I do know a little bit more about Darkseid than I do Thanos. So, and I mean, obviously we have the movies to go back on, and we have like some information from the comics that we got while we were watching the movies. But in terms of that, I am obviously a little bit more partial to DC. That is just my personal preference. So I'm a little bit one-sided on that. But I kind of felt like they would have like their first meeting, it would be exactly what you said. They would have this gigantic battle, and then I feel like once Thanos and Darkseid like actually met each other, they would duke it out, and then they'd be like, "Dude, what are we doing? We're both trying to do the same thing," and then they would team up for a bit, and then one of them, and I can't decide who. I feel like it would be Darkseid, only because of that ego that you were talking about.
oh
I
yeah,
think like towards the end, right as they're like starting to conquer everything, they're, just slaying everybody. Like right at the end when they're about to conquer like the universe that they're in or whatever. I think Darkseid would change his mind, and then they would go back to fighting again, and they would just kind of ruin it.
mhm. Yeah, I pretty much feel like it'd be one of those, like if Darkseid came up to Thanos and said, "Dude, like you're in my way," and Thanos would be like, "I didn't give you permission to talk." That's how I feel this would be. That
Yes.
that's just
Like
that's the
the
energy I'm
first
feeling.
meetup. Yeah.
Yes. You
Yeah.
really don't want those two teaming up though. I
No,
that's
I
not
mean
good.
like everything would die. Everything would die. Like the worlds they would try to conquer, they would just be incinerated from the battles. Because I mean, imagine if it was, because even if it was a battle, like say in space, you would still have massive destruction. And then if they like
Yeah.
actually met on a world that they both were trying to conquer, that world would be.
Here's what I think the difference is, and I need you to correct me if I'm wrong. And anyone who's listening, comment if I'm wrong or not. But like I said a little bit ago, like, he's been there. He doesn't want to lose again. I feel Darkseid, why he's so much more prideful, is because I feel like he's really never lost until he came up to like Superman. You know what I mean? Like the Justice League Superman. I feel his whole thousands of years of doing this crap, he's never had like a freckle of losing. Like he's just been wiping this down
Just
like
continually
nothing. And
conquering.
yeah, like I feel like he's done is win. And then once he got a taste of it, of losing, that ego is like, whoa, this isn't cool. I don't like this at all. Like he's more, I feel he's more noble. Like when these noble people get like they get their hands dirty, or they say they lose, or they get proven wrong, they do everything in their power to prove that the other side's wrong. You know what I mean?
That's
Um,
true. I think with Darkseid too, that statement does ring true. However, he does always come back with a counterattack though. So even though his pride might be hurt and he was like, "Okay, I
yeah,
I may have lost this battle," but he always comes back
yeah,
stronger.
yeah. Like in that
So he
like I
handles
said,
adversary well.
yes. So in that movie, Superman and Batman Apocalypse, at the end of the movie, Superman and Supergirl they team up to beat him, and it's looking pretty. I don't want to say one-sided, but it looks like they're getting nowhere trying to fight him. And they open up a boom tube, and I can't remember which one says it, but they just boom tube him to a random place in the universe, and one of them says, "Don't come back, or you won't be leaving ever again," or something like that. But my point is, you know damn well when he got shot through that boom tube, as soon as he got back on his feet, he'd come right back to Earth, and that's just what I mean.
Yeah. That would bring up my next point too, only because that element of instantly being anywhere that Thanos feels like he needs to be, just instantly opening up a boom tube
Mhm.
and being there, that is a level of surprise that I feel like Thanos doesn't have. So
Yeah,
imagine like whenever they meet and Thanos is like, "Oh, this is all you have," and then bam, like boom tubes start opening up everywhere, and then his army just rushes. That would be a level of surprise I feel like Thanos can't quite match, but that's just
yeah,
me personally. I
yeah,
think it
and
would
also
screw with Thanos a lot.
yeah, and also I feel, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but you gotta let me explain. I feel Darkseid is a lot more respected than Thanos, and let me just pitch this at you so I can get on the same level. In the movies, unless you're like part of that Black Order, I don't think a lot of people liked Thanos, right? Like I said, I don't know him very well outside of some of the like the games and the shows and the movies, but I feel not a lot of people like him. But Darkseid, he's worshipped like a god on Apocalypse. He is.
Yeah.
Like that cartoon in the 90s, the Superman cartoon, they were fighting. And Superman chucks him off of his castle, I think that's what it was, or tower. And he lands on the ground. He beat the hell. And he said, everyone here is free. You're no longer under his subjugation. You can go and do your thing and live your life. He has such a grip on his reality of his world that those subjects, those slaves, help him up and go help him recover. And then he has like 4 or 5 people helping him up, and he waves his hand to stop. And he goes, Kal-El, you have to understand, on this world, I am God. That's a lot more weight than Thanos, I think, ever had. That's just how I feel.
That is absolutely true. I do agree with that, only because the undying loyalty
Yes.
that Darkseid subjects have compared to Thanos, absolutely. Because not only do you have loyal, not really subjects, they're loyal slaves almost. They will do anything that Darkseid wants them to do.
So that being said, power-wise, him saying like anything, just him being there in the presence of people, I feel Darkseid has a way bigger advantage. I do, because if you think about it, Thanos is known as the Mad Titan, and Darkseid is pretty much like seen as a god. That's a big difference. That's a lot. That's a whole lot more luggage, not baggage to carry, but like burden to carry. I guess he has a lot more say than Thanos does, and I will say that.
Yes,
it's funny how we haven't even talked about
Darkseid has a bit more control over his subjects.
Yeah, like it's funny how we haven't even gotten like any superpowers or even throwing a punch, and we're just talking about their straight ego, and like Darkseid's already having kind of a one-up. You know what I mean?
It's just one level, one layer.
And I will say this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think the other thing too is Thanos in the Marvel Universe has gone through, and he has killed so many, whether, heroes, other villains. He has killed so many different types of, we'll call them powerful creatures, or, powerful humans, whatever you want to call them. He has killed so many different types of those characters that you would think he would know how to handle Darkseid. But how many characters that has he encountered that were like Darkseid? There really hasn't been, in my memory anyways, there really hasn't been a whole lot of characters that he's encountered that were like that. So he may be able, like, Thanos will find a way to kill something if it's unkillable, quote unquote. I don't know if he could do the same for Thanos.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if he could do the same for Darkseid.
I agree. I feel that, even with that cartoon I just told you, even when Superman beat him, he didn't lose. You know what I mean? Like, Darkseid he just lost a fight. He didn't lose anything else. His pride got hurt like hell, but he still had like his army and his subjects, his planet. And look, and then, I just feel Darkseid, he carries a lot more presence. I'll say it. The kids all say it. I'm going to say it right now. He has a lot more aura than Thanos does.
Even with Thanos's like unstoppable will to win at all costs, I think the one thing that Darkseid has is his ability to know when a battle is lost and retreat and regroup and then come back when Thanos is least expecting it.
Yes. And one thing that I I read this somewhere, and I love Endgame. To me is not my favorite, but Infinity War, I love that movie. One thing I feel that they didn't
Good movie.
really express that I found out later is when he was in Infinity War, Thanos was, he kind of had that, how can I say this? He was under the impression he already won. Like he had two or three Infinity Stones, and in his mind he won.
Yes.
Like he's already winning. In Endgame,
He already
and that's
decided that
why,
he won.
yeah, that's why in Infinity War, like towards the end, like Thor like whooped his ass. But in Endgame, that was like a freaking break on his agenda, saying, "Holy, these guys could beat me," and that's why when he was fighting, Iron Man, Captain, and Thor, he was a freaking monster because he's like, "I'm not losing. I am this close. I'm going to die before I let these guys beat me." That's why he was more of a freaking animal.
It was the unstoppable will to win.
Yes. Yeah, because he does not want to lose again. Regrettably, we're going to have to take a little bit of commercial break, Quinn. We will touch base on this next episode. And like for right now, Thanos. Darkseid has a little bit of the upper hand, but maybe when we come back, we'll find something to give Thanos a bit of a boost. But no, it's not one-sided, but Darkseid,
even though we're talking about it like it's leaning, but
yeah, we'll touch base on it after commercial break.
Hey everyone, we interrupt today's episode just to bring you a small little reminder that if you like what you hear, don't be afraid to like, share us, comment. We would love to hear what you have to say. I know we're just starting out, but any little thing goes a long way to help us out in the long run, even if it's just the click of a button, click of a like, click of a share, even click of a follow, a subscribe, anything. It helps us out immensely, and we greatly appreciate those of you who do watch. And even if it's just for one episode, even if it's just for a couple minutes, we really, really appreciate that. But yeah, if you like us, like, share, comment, subscribe. I know everyone says it, and we keep beating you over the head with it, but it's important to us. And I hope that it's important to you, too. With that being said, we will bring you back to today's episode. Thank you. All right, we are back for the second half of this episode. I know we had left off with kind of Darkseid actually having the upper hand in this, which I thought was interesting because I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. I would, however, like to remind some people, because I'm not even sure what your knowledge of all this is, because I ended up getting curious the one time when I actually sat down and I looked this up. But Jack Kirby created Darkseid, and his first cameo was in Superman's pal in Jimmy Olsen, number 134, in December of 1970. He fully appears in the Forever People number 1 in 1971. However, Thanos appears a couple years later in the Invincible Iron Man number 55, and that cover date is 1973. It's created by Jim Starlin. However, I didn't know this. It could be argued that his actual first appearance wasn't until Captain Marvel number 26, because, spoiler alert, the ending of Invincible Iron Man punches Thanos in the head, and robot parts fall everywhere. So Thanos, if you want to argue this, Thanos technically didn't appear until like February 27th. Still 1973, but he didn't like actually make a full appearance until Captain Marvel number 26, which I thought was interesting. But I think it goes to show the two different ideologies, and it's also interesting to see, because I think Thanos was obviously the first one to appear in like on screen. So I think sometimes that can be misconstrued a little bit as like, oh, Thanos came first. It's like not quite.
Yeah, that's good research there, Quinn.
I just thought that was fascinating.
Yeah. No, you're right. I did look that up. Darkseid he was out first, and then Thanos was inspired by him.
Yeah. Also, the most common thing that I saw while I was doing that research, I mean, it was just like a quick, 10-minute research, but Thanos, a lot of the times it came up where he was regarded as one of the most powerful beings in Marvel. I thought that was interesting, because no one was really talking about Darkseid like that. And considering that we were kind of leaning more towards Darkseid due to the ideologies, due to the background, not to say that they're not both powerful, but we were kind of finding things that was leaning more towards Darkseid. It surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, because respectfully, growing up, I watched like the Batman animated series, and then the Superman animated series, and then the Justice League came out, and then Justice League Unlimited, and to this day, again, I will stand on this hill, but those shows, and that includes like Static Shock. I think it's Bruce Timm. Is that who that is that made those shows? Is that what his name is?
That sounds about right.
Well, anyway, I think he's the creator of all that. Anyway, to this day, that, cartoon universe there is, quote, the best superhero continuity ever. And I've yet to see anyone get that articulate with any other IPs. I really like the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes that came out like 10 years ago. I still watch it. I do. On Disney Plus, when I get a free, I have nothing going on today, I'll click on Disney Plus, and they only have 2 seasons, but I love them. It's not as good as Justice League Unlimited, but it's close. It's really good. That's how I got introduced to Darkseid, was through those. Because I admit, I didn't read as many comic books as probably most fans have, because I'm more of a visual guy. Like, seriously, I downloaded audiobooks on Audible. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I can't focus when I'm reading. But when I'm listening, I remember almost every single thing on it. But my point is, when I'm watching the cartoons back from the 90s, I seen mostly like Lex Luthor, the Parasite, and then obviously Doomsday. But I remember there was one episode in particular with Darkseid. I already said it once before. It's the one where him and Superman fight on Darkseid's planet.
Oh yeah.
And I did say that. And then Superman beats him, and then he throws him off the building. Mm-hmm. I want to say castle, but I don't want to be that guy. I know it's throws him off the building, and then he lands, and then he pretty much says, you're all free. And instead of everyone celebrating like, yeah, we're free, they help him up. They help him up and take him off, and then he waves his hand. And he goes, you got. It's not word for word, but he says, you have to understand, Kal-El, on this world, I am God, and I don't think. Let me rephrase that. I don't believe Thanos has that kind of respect that Darkseid has, because he almost in the movie, which is a perfect representation of Thanos. I think it is. Like, I don't think he has, besides the Black Order, I feel all of his followers are forced. Like, they don't got a choice. Mm-hmm. It's either we're with him or, we're not. We're dead.
It's the two different ideologies coming together, because Thanos just wants to kill everything so he can impress Death. And Darkseid literally wants to have the anti-life equation so he can have an entire universe of slaves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me which one's more powerful. Or like at that rate, you're just redefining what the definition of powerful is. Because is powerful being able to kill everyone, or is power being able to rule over everyone and control them?
It's crazy because they're both, respectfully, DC. In DC's universe, Darkseid's probably top 5, and then in Marvel, Thanos is probably top 5, if not 10.
But they're both right up there.
That's what I mean. They're both searching for ways to be more powerful, even though they already are very powerful. Matrix said it the best. What do people with power want? They want more power.
Yeah.
But I do remember this part, though, and like I said, the ruthlessness of both of them. But I was reading a comic, and it was called Thanos, and I don't think the comic's that old. I think it's less than 10 years old, but I recommend reading it. I'll have to send you a link to it. There's a prologue, because in this comic book, he won. He beat everybody, every person he beat, and he beat Galactus, he beat the Eternals, he beat the Celestial, he beat everybody. the one prologue I seen, because he's going off like, I beat him. It was freaking beautiful, and it was just disgusting. He is on this planet, and the Celestials, and these things are like freaking. You've seen that Eternals movie? They're huge. They're gigantic beings.
They're massive.
Yeah. So they're all walking toward him, and he grabs Black Bolt. Okay.
Oh my God.
And I'm not sure if you know what his power is or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty much he whispers and boom, there goes like a whole city. What Thanos does, he grabs him and then he freaking just gut punches him as hard as he can. And you just see blood and guts come out of his mouth. Sorry, I'm getting kind of grotesque, but I'm just describing it. Hard as he can, right in the stomach, and everything in front of him just gets freaking evaporated. Just disintegrates. No, there's nothing. There's no land. There's no mountains. The Celestials are just gone. Like that. I'm like, oh my God. This guy's a freaking like, oh. Talk about thinking outside of the box. Seriously.
I was just gonna say he was so powerful that he didn't just use his strength, he used his mind to think so far. Like,
who does this? It's like he woke up then he's like, how can I be the biggest asshat? I know.
He woke up and shows violence.
It was multiple choice. He picked all the above. He did. It's just, and I gotta send that to you because it's a really good read. Because like both you and me are kind of seeing Darkseid as having the upper hand. Does not mean Thanos is any less ruthless or evil than Darkseid is. Because how I feel is like in the movie he like I said, he was a survivor because his planet and his people, everything went downhill. The planet they destroyed themselves, and he lost. He lost everything.
mm-hmm.
Thanos will do anything in his power to make sure he doesn't lose again.
Yeah.
And look, even in the movie, they had to use the stones to beat him. They couldn't do it. Like, it was impossible. Like I said, in Infinity War, he had the mindset that he already won because he had 2 or 3 within the first half hour of the movie. And in his mind, he's like,
I got this.
Yeah, I won. But then in Endgame, Iron Man, Cap, and Thor, the top 3 in the Avengers are swarming him, and him without the stones is just whooping their ass because he's like, these 3 guys are in my way of winning. And I'm going to make sure they don't. And he gets, like I said, he gets pretty close.
Determination.
Yes, he will make he is determined to make sure he does not lose again. And then for me, with Darkseid, I feel that he's never lost. And when he gets in the realm of losing, or if Superman does beat him, he hates it. Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. Because there's also still that determination of like, I need to be powerful, especially with Darkseid. Yeah. He just needs to be powerful. He needs to have slaves to rule everything.
Yeah.
And it's the same type of determination, but on different levels. And also that background does matter here too. Because like we were talking about earlier, Thanos does not want to retreat. And he also does not want to have a huge army. He just wants to kill everything. And I think Darkseid, so like I feel like if they did meet, Darkseid would absolutely have the upper hand at first, but I think Thanos would not give up at all whatsoever.
Yes.
So and that would either lead it would either lead to them teaming up for at least some period of time, or it would lead to an all-out war where I think Thanos would do things because he is smart, obviously, using Black Bolt, and there were so many different things that Thanos did where you're just like, wow, I never would have thought to do that. Oh my God. Like, even as a villain, I never would have thought to do that. So he is smart.
I'll give you another example.
Yeah.
Right, I'll give you another example. So, You're familiar with Ghost Rider, right? Okay. Do you know a little bit about the penance stare he has?
Yes.
Okay. It's pretty much what he does is he stares at someone and then they're forced to watch all the bad deeds they ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And it pretty much renders them useless and they die, pretty much.
Yeah.
So there was a cartoon I watched where he did it to Galactus. And Galactus has a bit of a population of a lot of people that he's killed with all the planets he's eaten. He just has a little bit.
Just a few.
Ghost Rider used that on him, and Galactus was like, pretty much like, oh my god, this is too much. So in that book, or that comic book I read with Thanos, he actually has I can't remember who it was. It's a Ghost Rider that he grabs him, looks in his eyes, and as he's doing the penance to Thanos, he grins because he's like, man, is that satisfying. Oh my god. It's just, wow, what a difference.
Yeah.
I have to send you that link. That is a good book. It is.
Yeah.
But like you said, with him being smart, in Endgame, whether I hate it or like it, like I said, I didn't hate the movie, but some of it left a bad taste in my mouth. In the part where Captain Marvel, beautiful part where she's grabbing him and he grabs him by the Infinity Gauntlet and he raises up to headbutt her and she just doesn't even move. And this guy's taken down like, Hulk and Thor almost to like they're dead. And then he headbutts her hard as he can and he shouldn't even move. I'm like, that's how you do Captain Marvel right. Anyway, like you said about him being smart, he's quick thinking. He's like, so he grabs the Power Stone out of the gauntlet and then just hooks her and goes flying. And I'm like, oh my god, this guy's like so hard to beat.
It's the quick thinking.
It is. They did him so perfect in the movies.
Yes. I think Darkseid is very militaristically thinking, only because he does have such an army that he can dispose of at any time. So he's very tactically thinking, where Thanos is very quick individually thinking and in hand-to-hand combat thinking as such.
Yeah.
And also I think the difference too is like Darkseid has obviously the Omega beams, and there's so many different powers that Darkseid has that he can use to his advantage, where he doesn't have to have that hand-to-hand combat side of things, where Thanos just destroys in hand-to-hand. So it's insane.
Yeah. So going towards the stuff, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I think, I don't know if either one would win. Because I think initially, Thanos may very well get overran by Darkseid and his army at first. I think he would very well get overran. However, having both of them being so, like, the thought process so different, whether it's just individual, like Thanos being individually smart, or Darkseid being militaristically and strategically smart on that front.
Yes, because like if they go face to face, Darkseid may have the upper hand, but Thanos will find a way to get the upper hand at any means. So I think you're right. It's not going to be one-sided, I tell you that much.
No.
And whatever planet or spaceship or asteroid or whatever the hell they're fighting on, it's not going to be happy.
No, even like a world that they're fighting close to, or like just any type of worlds that they're fighting close to, like there is going to be some catastrophic events that happen that are not going to be good for anyone.
Yeah.
But I honestly though, I'd like to see them team up. Like I'd like to see them get the best of each other, and then whenever Thanos and Darkseid finally meet, like they actually have a good fight, and then they realize they're like, wait a second, we're kind of going for the same goal here.
Yeah.
But then I know exactly what would ruin it. The ideologies. They would start to, and then Thanos would start killing everyone, and then Darkseid would be like, what are you doing? We're trying to make them our people. And Thanos is like, I don't care, I need this for death.
You did it. You hit that bullseye. That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, I do. You hit the nail on the head right there. Getting towards the end of the episode here, I want to say draw. There's going to be a draw, but we might have to go into more detail, but all in all, it's been a pretty satisfying talk. I mean, they're both up there with like their continuity. They're both like top tier villains.
Yeah.
Either
like
that
you
or
hear
like their name. Yeah.
Yeah, either that or best case scenario, they would fight and then realize that, oh, this is going nowhere for both of us.
Yeah.
So you take that side of the universe and I'll take this side, and then if and when we meet, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, but either way, we'll have fun doing it. All right, I'm all right, Quinn. I'm satisfied. We'll wrap this up, and the next episode we're going to tackle is we're going to talk for the Christmas episode ish. We're going to talk about our Legos, and trust me, you want to hear this. I think we're going to get pretty in depth about it. But yeah, we're going to wrap this up, people. Please like, subscribe, share. Tell us what you think about the episode.
Yes, let us
And tell
know
us
in the
why you think.
comments how you think this would go down if Thanos and Darkseid met. How do you think it would go down?
Yes. All right, Quinn, you take care, and we'll talk later.
Catch you next week. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for this episode. Be sure to check out next week's episode of Apocalypse and let us know in the comments if Darkseid and Thanos met. How do you think it would go down? Or who do you think would win? We would love to hear what you have to say. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps us out. And if you actually do enjoy us, be sure to give us a follow, subscribe to our YouTube. It really does help us out. And we hope you enjoy the episode. We will see you on next week's episode of Apocalypse.